Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. This is Dosha with DoshaDreamsTarot, and this is a reading for the sign of Pisces. This is for Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus signs, or wherever you have Pisces in your chart. Please keep in mind this is a general reading, so it may or may not resonate with you. Just take what does, leave the rest for somebody else, okay? Also wanted to say, cross watchers, you are welcome here, but just remember this is Pisces reading, so you can't get upset if I expose you for your bad behavior, okay? Also wanted to say that gender is fluid, guys, so just keep that in mind. Moving forward, I do attempt to use gender neutral language for all the cards that come out, just to make my readings more accessible and inclusive, and then people can place themselves where they fit regardless of gender, right? Pisces, wow, I don't know, it's just like all the cards in the split are really interesting indicator of like where you're at right now. The Sun card has just kind of stayed at the bottom of the deck this whole time too, so that could be your overall energy right now, Pisces. What else did I need to say? Thanks to everyone who's been interacting with my videos and, you know, liking and commenting and, you know, letting me know how you feel about the readings. It's really cool to get feedback from y'all. And also thank you for being so patient, because I've actually been kind of slow at getting the astrology readings out this week, because I just have had so many, you know, collective channeled messages come through like last week and earlier in this week too, that I just kind of neglected the astrology readings a little bit. So anyway, we're back on track. I appreciate you guys going with the flow. Wow, okay, we're getting pretty good cards so far. So thank you so much, Spirit, for your divine messages and guidance. We are deeply grateful, and we know we couldn't do this without you. Could you please help guide, I swear, Pisces, could you please help guide Pisces for their highest good, Spirit, and please bless us and protect us as we move forward into this reading. All right, thank you. Spirit's gonna happen too. Jesus. Okay. Pisces. We definitely have some changes coming here, okay? And they're gonna be good, okay? So you have the Nine of Swords, excuse me, the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck, okay? So this is funny. It's really actually really funny that I just said Nine of Swords, because the first thing that came to mind was like, okay, changes can be really good and changes can be very welcomed, right? And exciting, but changes can also be a little bit stressful, okay? That's what's coming through here. And so the fact that I said Nine of Swords, which is the classic card for anxiety and insomnia, right? Being stressed out. So I think it's really interesting that I misspoke there, because the Nine of Wands is talking about being determined, okay? Determination to continue forward. You know, it's the Wounded Warrior card. It's like determination even in the face of obstacles. You still are able to defend yourself, protect yourself. Sometimes that can come off a little bit defensive to other people, but if that is what is necessary for you at that time, that is what is necessary. You know what I mean? So you may not necessarily be... how do you say, you may not necessarily be defensive right now, but even if you are, I don't think it's a bad thing. Okay, let's put it that way. So first card that came out, let's go ahead and kind of go round robin here. We've got the Six of Wands. So Pisces, I really feel like you are coming into a lot of recognition here. I think people are starting to take notice of you. And I think they're starting to take notice of your hard work specifically, but how you have basically, like, you see the yellow grass like down here, it's almost looking like a wheat field to me. And I've never actually even noticed that in this card, but it's almost looking like what you've cultivated or what you have been putting work in is coming to fruition, and people can see it like with their own two eyes. With like, wow, you've actually been doing a really good job. You know what I mean? So it's like the results and the outcome of what you've been working on is actually like really apparent to other people. And so you're starting to get recognition here. And not just that people notice, but people are saying something about it to you also. Like, you're looking very successful right now. You look like, you know, what you're doing looks good from the outside. You know what I mean? And people are letting you know. You know what I mean? Which is awesome. It is, I think, a really, really good feeling for you. And not just a good feeling, but I feel like it's you deserve it. And not only do you deserve it, but like it is... it's basically, it's making you feel a lot more secure. And when you feel more secure, like everything is intertwined, right? So when we feel more secure, socially or in our community or with like the people around us, and we feel secure physically, it's like that creates a lot of emotional security for us. And they're really both interdependent factors, right? They both are very, I don't want to say, yeah, interdependent is the best word to say. Basically, they're intertwined, is that if you're doing well in one area, it positively impacts the other, and vice versa. It's just when we get into places of codependency where we need other people to be giving us accolades in order to feel good and secure, okay, here's what I'm getting. This is a nice change of pace for you, okay? And I want you to enjoy it. You deserve to feel this kind of security. You deserve to be able to invest in your long-term, stability and your long-term, relationships, right? Like it feels like you're building community here is what I'm really getting. And I feel like this is a really abundant time for you. And it's exciting because like I said, it's almost like you deserve this. And I feel like this is actually helping heal you. This is really helping heal you and close out old cycles. This is a big change for you. Like you're used to feeling, and I'm just getting this, Pisces, is that this is like fucking awesome for you because you're walking through this door where it's like before maybe you didn't feel like okay, if this is what you're walking into and this is a change for you, then I can only assume that this is not how you were feeling before, right? Like you may have been feeling like insecure in your relationships, your investments, yada yada. And I don't want to like dive too deep into that energy because you already know what that's all about. This is about a brand new, this is a brand new cycle. You know what I mean? This is you finally being able to let your hair down, right? And kick your boots off and actually enjoy the space that you have basically created for yourself. You know what I mean? Like you've worked your way to a better life. Like that's what I'm really getting here is it's like your whole life has improved somehow. And like financially with your relationships, there's just joy in your life. And things have, like, this is a big change for you. Now, the only cautionary energy that I'm getting here, Pisces, and I fucking know I am like your guys' mom or like your cool aunt or whatever. But really, I have to give caution where caution is given to me. You know what I mean? So don't shoot the messenger. It's just these little things that we have to pay attention to as we go, because it's just like, hey, you're walking through a field. You want to look out at the field and see how beautiful it is and everything that you've cultivated. And you know what I mean? Like you want to be able to kind of run free and frolic in the flowers and you know what I'm saying? And have fun, right? Like, and enjoy it, right? You should. Okay, this is what being alive is all about. This is the best parts of being alive, guys. Like, but as you're walking out through this field, make sure that you just look down and check your step every once in a while. Look ahead and and be able to foresee any kind of pitfalls, right? That's basically the energy, is make sure that you are also checking your steps so that you don't, step in a hole and twist your ankle, or or there's a snake in the grass and you don't see it because you're having too much fun, right? Like, so that's the kind of only like parental cautionary whatever energy that's like coming through right now for you guys, is because you may also, the other thing is, okay, and like I said, it's like just shake it off, let it go, you know what I mean? Don't get too stressed about it, because this is fucking amazing. Like, this is an amazing reading. But the only other thing that I have to say about it is that when you start to succeed, and it may be new for you, right? Because this is a change. This is a big, big cycle change where it's like now all of a sudden you're doing well in like every area of your life, And if that's not what you were experiencing before, there may be parts of you that are like, like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? Or like, when, is something gonna fall through? Or like, nothing ever works out this great for me for very long, right? That kind of mentality, that's the only kind of thing that spirit would caution you against, because it's like when we get scared, like it's natural, okay? First off, it's natural to be scared, But courage is feeling the fear and moving forward anyway. It is feeling afraid of potential negative outcomes, but then saying, you know what? Sure, that could happen, but also all these other amazing things could happen. You know what I mean? Or somewhere in between. It doesn't have to be the extremes of like my life is amazing or my life sucks. You know, like you're realizing like, no, things will interchange and pass and change. And, you know, like, okay, so like, yeah, I'm doing great in all these areas. Let me enjoy it while also not allowing this negative talk to come in and kind of be like, you know, because you do, like I said, it's such a balance when things start to go well for you. It's a balance because you'll be scared at first. I'm just getting that. It's not even in the cards, guys. Like, what I'm getting is that you may be a little bit worried at first, and it may cause a little anxiety. That's what it was with the Nine of Wands, that I accidentally said Nine of Swords. But what I was thinking of is success stress, where that you essentially are like, you know, where it stresses you out. You have more responsibilities. There's more people looking at you and at what you're doing, and it feels like higher stakes because what if you fail now? You know what I mean? Like, okay? No, we need to be aware of that and be cautious about that's a pitfall. You know what I mean? Watch your negative thinking. Okay, part of checking your step is checking yourself. Like, how am I thinking about this? How am I moving through this? Am I living in fear in any particular way? Am I feeling fearful about the idea of, you know what I mean, whatever, this not working out? I mean, that's like probably the most classic initial gut reaction when you have had, you know, like I said, that this is a change for you, then this may not be what you're used to, you know? You may be used to keeping to yourself. You may be used to just living by your, you know, within your means and a kind of a more humble, meager type of life, right? So then it's like all of a sudden, you know what I mean? You've got people who are interested in you. People want to be your friend. People who want to date you. People, you know, you may have like, I'm honestly getting like, you may have someone who's like falling in love with you right now. And you're like, whoa, like I am falling in love? Like that's new. You know what I mean? and like, you know, and somebody is actually like loving me back. Like this is like a like something that's like healthy and long term. And this is, I feel like I've accomplished some kind of milestone in my life. And like, you know, the Sun card is like, you know, you just, I feel like you're in this place of absolute joy, okay? And so when you're in that place, it's like there is a little bit of fear that comes with that because you're just like, well, I don't want to be so vulnerable and so excited and so like, I don't want to get used to this because what if I lose it and then it's going to hurt even worse if I get used to it, right? But like, no, trust me, the only reason why you feel that way, Pisces, is because you've gotten used to things not working out. You've gotten used to things not being great, you know? And so that's why, because you're like, oh, well, I don't want to get used to this. Well, why not? You know? You should get used to it, Pisces. You should get used to feeling this good. You should get comfortable with the idea of being successful, comfortable with the idea of something lasting. Because if something feels like it has good potential right now and good long-term potential, like, why shouldn't you get comfortable with that idea? Because if it's going to be long-term, then you might as well get used to it, right? But I get it, because you don't want to get too comfortable, let your guard down, right, with that Nine of Wands, okay? Maybe that's why that came out too. That makes perfect sense, is you may not want to let your guard down and really let all of this joy in, because it's going to be like cracking open, you know, like in a way. In a way, it's like letting the dam loose. And you're like, well, I don't want to let the dam loose because what if there's a drought later? You know what I mean? But it's like, but you've got to. I'm looking at this wand, at the World card. I was like combining those two words. And it almost looks like an egg to me, like this oval shape. And it's like this vulnerable you on the inside, this holy, divine you, right? It's like that's who you are really on the inside. It's beautiful, but it's like you're inside this egg almost, like, right? And you're breaking, like, you see the infinity loops? Like, the infinity loops are where the wreath ends and begins again, right? Which is part of the symbolism here. And I'll tell you guys about a psychedelic experience I had once, which is really random, guys, but, like, this is what I always think of when I see the World card. And there's in another deck I have, the Star card has this ribbon, you know, this piece of fabric, this long, beautiful ribbon wrapped around the person. And so every time I see that, guys, it makes me think of this experience I had, and I'll share it with you. So the first time I did DMT, okay, And it actually worked. And this was years ago. And when I say it actually worked, sometimes DMT doesn't work for people the first time. And so I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this kind of stuff on YouTube, but I think I am. So I think it'll be okay. Like I said, it was years and years ago, whatever. It's like, you know, it's dust in the wind. But so I did DMT for the first time, but I actually had like a experience with it. And what happened was I was sitting in a circle with some kind of new friends. I was traveling on the road, and so I was sitting with these people who I'd become friends with, and we were in a safe space. You know what I mean? We were in their home, and it was, you know, it felt like a place for me to try something like that, right? So so I did, and I had this vision where it was like I went through these layers. And it was like the first layer, the other layers aren't really relevant. But when I got to the top layer, because it was kind of personal, but it was more like, you know, it was kind of like the base layer. It was like very swampy, and I was kind of like in the dirt, you know what I mean, in the muck. And, you know, and then the next layer I kind of raised up above that a little bit, and I was more like sitting in a field. Like these are all just visualizations I was having in my mind's eye. And then when I got to the highest level, it was like I was floating in the air, like sitting cross-legged, and probably just because that's the way I was sitting at the time. But so I was levitating, and I had this golden ribbon that came down from the sky, and it wrapped itself around me and went all the way down into the earth. And it was like this incredible, like I felt like caressed by this ribbon, like this golden light, right? But it was like wrapping around my whole body, and it was really, really significant. It was a powerful experience. So when I came out of that experience, like I kind of like, you know what I mean, came back down a little bit and started to kind of interact with the people around me again. And we all kind of were, you know what I mean, getting back in our bodies. And then the person who was sitting across from me was looking at me, and I just was looking back at them, and we were both just kind of looking at each other. And I was like, what, you know, like it was confusing. And they were like, they said they had the first time that they'd ever had a visual experience, because for the most part, my visualizations, I had my eyes closed. So I didn't know what other people were doing or what they were feeling, or like, you know what I mean? I was just having a really personal journey. And so when I came out of that, it doesn't last very long, but when I came out of it, it was like this person was just staring at me from across the circle. And so then we talked about it, and they told me that they had the first time ever that they actually visually, with their eyes open, saw something while they were you know, in some type of altered state of mind. And they saw this ribbon, this golden ribbon wrapping around me. They saw what I was experiencing, guys. They described it to me, and I was like, you almost don't know what to say when you're like, that's literally exactly what was happening in my mind. Like in my experience, like you saw what I was experiencing. And they said that they heard a voice, and the voice said to them to stop being so selfish and to pay attention to the people around them. And so they opened their eyes and they looked at me, and that's what they saw. So it was like Spirit was almost showing them, like, you're not the only, like, this is the way that I took it, was that like this person, it was like they were trying to tell this person, like, you're not the only one having a spiritual experience in this life, right? Like it was like to give them some type of insight into somebody else. And it was like it changed, like something happened, like, you know what I mean? And it was for both of us, like something happened to us that day, because it was like all of a sudden they realized like that they had just been really focusing on their own journey and not really recognizing the divinity in others, and like recognizing what other people were experiencing. And so it cracked them out of their shell, right? And it showed me that my experiences are not bullshit, right? That it was like, whoa, like what I was experiencing was actually significant, and it wasn't just significant for me, right? So it was like I cracked open, because I realized was like, oh my God, like everything that I've been experiencing like is real. You know what I mean? Like these spiritual experiences I'm having that are so personal and internal, and, you know, like I'm not really sharing them with very many people. Like, you know, that's why I share my dreams every once in a while, guys, because I know that like my dreams are actually like they're real experiences that really do, that are connected with this whole like life and death cycle with the infinity sign, and the connections between all of us, and the way that all of that kind of works out, right? These cycles that we end up in, these, you know, how do I explain it? Like I said, it's like breaking some kind of karmic cycle. And for me, a big part of the cycle that I felt like broke for me in that experience was kind of telling myself that like my connection with spirit, my connection, like this divine kind of connection that I've felt since I was a kid. And, you know, it's like I kept telling myself that I was just crazy, you know what I mean? And that it wasn't like that this was just, you just have a really vivid imagination, you know, like you're just having really vivid dreams. You're just having really, you know, strange spiritual experiences and all this sort of thing. But it's really just in your head. So to have other people, like this is what, like when I had a shared dream with 2 other people, we all had the same dream and different, from each different perspective. Like it's moments like that like, and this, that really for me made me realize that like this shit is real. You know what I mean, guys? And like that changed my life forever, because now it's like I still even have to remind myself, and I have to take everything with the surface level, because don't believe everything you think, guys, and don't be afraid of everything that you dream or every nightmare that you have or whatever. It's like there's a lot of meaning behind everything, but sometimes the meaning isn't what we think it is, right? So we have to be, you know, aware of that, you know, and try and think positive and try and think, okay, maybe I'm having this fear because of these reasons. Okay. I don't want to suppress my intuition and say that like I'm just being paranoid, because that's not always the case either, but you don't want to necessarily like, you know, so do you feel why I'm saying this in this context here? Let me like get back to you guys. Okay. The reason why I'm saying this in this context is because it's like something has changed for you, where now you're seeing yourself through someone else's eyes. Like I said, I feel like somebody might be falling in love with you. Like you guys might be getting into some really deep, you know, invested relationships here. And so you're starting to see yourself again as like this, like you're the pure essence of you. Like I was saying, like this child in the sun card, right? Is like you're actually seeing the essence of you, who you were as a kid, right? Like this is crazy, because this is actually this came through just earlier in the Leo reading, I believe. So it's just crazy to me, guys, like the messages that come through. Spirit is so cool about helping us with this. But the true you, okay, this is what you're seeing now, and in doing that you may feel very vulnerable. It might be bringing up fear, you know, and you, like I said, though, it's like you're seeing yourself for the first time, almost like in this light, and you're realizing something about yourself, and it's changing things for you. And in this change, you might be like, whoa, I really like this. I'm really excited about this, but I'm also feeling a little bit nervous, you know? Honor that, you know, honor your feelings about this, and, you know, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. You know, and also don't be afraid to be happy, guys. Like, you know, I understand, I really do. Like it can be really intimidating, the idea of being happy, because I know it sounds crazy to some people. Like if this reading, like, you know, if you're not resonating with that part of this reading, like you're like, I'm not afraid to be happy, fuck yeah, let's do this, then it's like, you know, I'm glad that you know, I'm glad that's not something that you struggle with. But just be aware that might sound crazy to you, but it really doesn't sound crazy to other people who actually do struggle with this, because it's like, yeah, the idea of being happy is kind of scary, because you're like, well, fuck, well, what if, you know, I know it's crazy that you'd be scared of if something goes well, right? But you're like, God, but then that means I'm actually in this thing. Then that means I actually am, you know, invested somewhere. And that means that people actually do see me and know my name and, you know what I mean? See what the work I'm doing. And so I'm kind of on display here, right? Like I'm kind of on display, you know, like, but it's a good feeling. It's a change for you, and it's a good change, you know? So I would be excited about it. Definitely. Like, let yourself be excited, you know, but watch your step as you're, you know what I mean? As you're moving through this change and these new experiences, and you're going to get wiser, and you're going to get better at wielding that type of success with grace, so that you're not like rubbing it in other people's faces, you know what I mean? Or being shitty about it, because that literally does happen to people too. They'll be like Humpty Dumpty, you know what I mean? Like with this egg thing. And be like, oh, I can climb a wall. It's fine, you know. I'm not trying to be weird. I don't know why that's coming to my head, guys. It's also because I've seen this sun card with the sun face on it, and it's just making me think of Humpty Dumpty with the whole like egg analogy. So I'm sorry, guys, but it's more like basically you don't want to get a big head. That's really that's the only other caution that I can think of, or that is coming through right now, is that you don't want to get a big head and think to yourself like, you know, like, and have expectations for like, you know, or be kind of like, well, I'll show them, because, you know, it's like I said, if this is a change for you, that means you're not used to this. And so in a way you might be kind of like, yeah, I am the shit. And yeah, I am somebody to be praised. And yeah, I am a hard worker. And yeah, you know what I mean? And like I said, that's not a bad thing. You need to have love for yourself and recognize your self-worth, but also remember how to do this with grace so that you don't end up coming off as like arrogant to other people, because other people might be like, yeah, and I know some of you, whoever I'm saying this for, some of you guys are like, I don't F, because you know what? Those people, like, they're just jealous and da-da-da. And it's like, yeah, there will be people who are jealous of you, but you could make it worse by having a shitty attitude. You know what I mean? And so you don't want to gain more haters because you are just kind of being snooty about it. Does that make sense? Like, I think you should definitely enjoy it, indulge in it, embrace it, accept the compliments, you know, but it's kind of like, accept them with a little bit of grace and gratitude and humility too, because like, I feel like it'll go further for you. You know what I mean? Like, because people will see the way that you respond to the praise, and so then they'll be like, yeah, I like praising this person because they're like, you know, because they're humble about it. And I get it. Like, for some people, it's like, I don't want to be humble. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I am the shit, and yeah, fuck you. And I know that's like an attitude that's being like really encouraged lately, and I know y'all probably feel that. It's like just this whole like concept of empowerment through like not caring what people think and not giving a fuck about whether people like you or not and stuff. And it's like, I get that and I agree with it, but I also think it's like, it's an extreme and it's a reaction usually to being judged and being treated badly and be like, you see what I'm saying? It's an empowerment that is coming from that pain. You know what I mean? But the type of empowerment that's going to come from the joy that you're feeling, because you're actually going to be empowered by the idea of being happy and not coming from this place of pain. It's almost like healing to the point where it's almost like you can't even, does that make sense? Where it's like you don't even relate with that narrative anymore. You're almost like, yeah, that helped me survive, you know, like to be spiteful or to be resentful. It helped me to succeed because I was like, yeah, I don't really give a fuck what these people think, because especially if people are saying and thinking things about you that aren't cool, then, you know, you have to detach yourself emotionally to a certain degree in order to survive just the anxiety and the kind of like disappointment and the pain of being judged, you know? So you're like, yeah, okay, that definitely helped me survive at the time, but now that I'm doing well, do I really need to hold on to these resentments, or do I need to be fueled by, you know, spite, right? So you want to be careful about that, because you might want to show off a little bit right now, Pisces, and you might want to flex on people, and you might want to kind of be like, you know, like I look hot, you know, people like me, I'm doing good for myself, I'm happy, I can finally let my hair down, I love myself, somebody else loves me, So like, you know what, you get what I'm saying, Pisces, is that it can turn into this thing that like you might want to flex on people and kind of get a big head about it, but I'm telling you that like that is not a good way to go about it, because I just feel like, yeah, people are going to hate no matter what you do, but I guarantee you that people will hate you a whole lot less. And you should care about that, because people can create roadblocks for you, and people can give you a hard time, and people can fuck things up for you. And I'm just saying, dude, like, just let yourself enjoy it, but be cautious as well as you move forward, okay? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to give people any reason to try and knock you off your high horse, right? That's why you also have your own wand, so that you can be like, no, I earned this, I deserve it, I'm not going to fuck it up, and also you're not going to fuck it up for me, so I'm not going to give you any reason to be able to fuck it up for me. You see what I'm saying? You got to play nice, you know what I mean, Pisces? And I think you're going to learn how to do that pretty quickly, because you're going to realize, like, you know, you've probably already had a couple experiences with this. Also, like if this reading is really resonating, you may already be thinking about moments where you're like, ah, damn, I did kind of flex, or I did kind of act that way or that way. And, you know, I can kind of already feel the energy of people like, you know, being annoyed by it, right? So you may already be like, oh shit, you know, like, okay, yep, I get that. That's true. Like I should probably just, you know what I mean? Just continue to be humble about your accomplishments and they will multiply. You know, I really am feeling that for you. So Pisces, this was your reading. I think this is hilarious that this was just a 4-card spread. Honestly, such a fucking amazing 4-card spread, and how so many messages came through about this, that I really love this for you, and I hope it was helpful. I also do hope that this is what you're like, that you're going through these changes, because this is exciting and awesome, and you deserve it, and you should enjoy it, okay? So anyway, I'm going to leave it here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, please do interact with it and drop me a comment and let me know. I really like to hear from you guys, and I also love to see my subscriber count go up. It's amazing. Like, I love you guys so much. I really do, because I love doing this, and this is like one of my favorite things to do. And so, you know, just having the opportunity to share it with the public and get your guys' feedback is really cool, and I dig it. So anyway, I'll be back again soon with more videos for you guys. Also wanted to say, if you need dream interpretations, I do offer that. So that info will be in the contact, or I'm sorry, that info will be in the description box, right? My contact info, all that. My donation links also. So if you guys are interested in dropping me a monetary donation, that really means a lot and is totally cool to do. So I love you guys again. Thank you. And I hope to see you again next time. Bye.